Horror films are having quite the renaissance in these past few years, and today we're talking about another one that has been on my list, I heard a lot about, and I'm happy to say it's a really good one. Talk to Me. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. No, that's not a sign of loneliness. I'm not saying talk to me as in please, please someone talk to me. That is the name of the film that we're talking about today. It's literally called Talk to Me. It was made in 2022. It's an Australian film. It was released last year to a lot of critical acclaim. So I was really excited when it popped up randomly on a streaming service. In this case for me it was Amazon Prime Video. I immediately leaped at the chance to watch it because, like I say, I had heard a lot of good things about it. Now, one of the interesting things is this is a feature film debut for the directors. Their names are Danny and Michael Philippou, and one of them, Danny, actually also co-wrote the script. So it's really exciting to see people just starting out on this movie journey and making a film that is not only just good, but really engaging, which I found this film was. So really excited. I'll definitely keep an eye on these two, see what they come up with in future. I mean, I've already heard that there's going to be a sequel to this called Talk to Me. You know, obviously, if you've got two in the title, it obviously lends itself to a sequel. To be, numberized like many of these films are. Too Fast, Too Furious, Looking at You, and all these other films. Anyway, I don't even know if they're attached to do the second one, but generally speaking, really excited to see what they do because yes, this felt really interesting and unique in a way that I haven't seen before. I'll definitely talk about that, once we get through the plot. But yes, so this is a horror film. Just so you know, in case you're not of that volition, you don't really like horror films. Yes, I wouldn't say it's too, bad and gory and scary and all these kind of things. I found it more thrilling and interesting, I will say, than really horrific, right? Just to give you that sort of little heads up. But let's talk about this film. What is this about? Now, we're based on a group of teenagers because, of course, a lot of great horror films are based on a group of teenagers. They get up to silly things. I find that realistic, when I think back to my teenage years, there definitely were very few, yeah, I think very few. But there definitely were really, really stupid things that me and my friends got up to. So I absolutely find it very credible that we could have landed in a situation like this. What happens here? So you've got all these teens coming together, and there are no big explanations. It's one of the things I like about this, but I'll talk about that as well once we get through the plot. This hand pops up. It's a mummified hand, I think it is. It's a weird hand. It's got its fingers outstretched. I mean, you see it in all the promotional material. What happens is the group of teenagers come together, they light a candle. One of their group, shakes hand with this hand. And you say, talk to me. When you do, a spirit appears for this one person. No one else in the room can see it, just the one actually, offering up, saying, talk to me. They can see the spirit, and then they have an option. If they say, I'll let you in, they let the spirits into their body and are possessed, right? The dangerous thing there being that, I don't know how they found this out, but they know that you can only take up to 90 seconds. After that, the human being actually gets possessed, right? And as you can imagine, with teens, they all get together, have a house party, and this is obviously the big fun thing to do. And this is what we see. So we're focused mainly on three of these teenagers. The main character her name is Mia. She's played by Sophie Wilde. She is a friend to a family of two siblings. One of them played by Alexandra Jensen. Her name is Jade in the film. And Joe Bird, he's the younger brother. His name is Riley. So Mia is basically Jade's friend, but she's also befriended Riley and the whole family. The mother of the family, by the way, played by Miranda Otto, which is always great. I mean, I've liked her ever since I saw her in Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings, sorry. Lord of the Rings. My mind was sort of in the fantasy area, just in the wrong one. She plays Eowyn, of course. Yeah, so I was very delighted to see her pop up. But she doesn't play such a big part in this film, so not really any point talking much more about her. Mia herself, she is plagued by a lot of emotions because her mother died, and she's sort of still trying to deal with that and try to analyze, why it happened, how it happened, and all these kind of things. As you can imagine, with a thing like possession and just sort of, let's call it a lot of psychic things going on. This plays into it very heavily. What happens, the big thing that really kicks off the majority of the story is that at one of these parties, Riley, the younger brother, he wants to try this out as well, because they're basically passing it around. You've got this sequence where everyone gets possessed even multiple times, and it's a huge kick for them apparently. You know, it's a really big surge in emotions or whatever. So it's like taking drugs apparently, and he wants to have a go. Jade doesn't let him. She eventually leaves the room, and Riley persuades Mia to let him have a go. What happens? Which happens, and what happens then is that Riley actually gets possessed by the spirit of Mia's mother, which, as you can imagine, complicates things. I won't get into details because that would be, it'd be heading into spoiler territory. But yeah, let's just say things go badly, they go wrong. And like I say, this drives the main plot. Also because, as I said, Mia is dealing with the death of her mother, so we've got a lot of emotional baggage there that needs to be dealt with. Yeah, so that's as much as I'll tell you about the plot. Group of teenagers, they've got this weird hand that lets them be possessed by spirits. And the whole thing, of course, goes wrong because this is a horror film. Now, what I like about the plot, I sort of briefly hinted at this, is we don't, because if you think about films from like the 2000s and 2010s, there's a lot of investigative aspects of it where they're like, we have to find out why is this happening, you know, and then they eventually stumble upon this cliched Indian burial ground or something like that. We don't have any of that here. We never find out where this hand came from, why it works the way it works, how these teens even know how it works. You know, we don't find any of this out, which is great because you don't need it. That's not what we're focused on. That's not the big mystery that needs to be solved here. We're just going along with it, and I really like that because probably, you know, whatever backstory you try to give it won't be interesting anyway. So I really appreciate that. I really like that. What I also like is this is possession done a bit differently, because usually we have like demons and then they do all sorts of weird and crazy shit, of course, when they're possessing the humans. And it really goes off the rails and all these kind of things. Here it's a lot creepier because as we can tell, as far as we can tell, these are just normal beings. So they're not evil demons trying to wreck someone's life, you know, as it were. These seem to be just regular spirits of dead people, like Mia's mother, for instance, you know. So I really like that. It sort of strays from what we usually have with these kinds of films, and that's what I like. And like I say, the whole thing, people could say, oh, this is stupid, you know, a bunch of teenagers, why would they do that? Again, I can absolutely see a bunch of teenagers doing that. If someone is capable of doing this, it will be the teenagers, right? Very, very easily it will be them. So I really like that, and what I find fascinating about it being a first-time film for the two directors is I really like their directing style, because we have interesting camera moves going on, because when these teens, when they get, just to give you an example, when they get possessed, they sort of, you know, they just completely are hit by the spirit, you know, and in their seats are sort of whipped back, and the camera moves with them, and it sort of jolts with them, and when other things happen, the camera jolts and moves with the characters as well. I've just found it really engaging, the whole thing. So it's like, yeah, there's not just a little static camera. In this case, I found that really helped to sort of, like I say, it made it kind of thrilling and less horrorful for me, less scary for me, but yeah, more thrilling by that. And I really liked where the story went. I also liked the conclusion of it. So, and there's definitely still there, because they are making a sequel. I would say that there's, to me at least, especially the ending, tells me that there's a certain aspect of this story that I feel that we definitely can still explore. So I'm really excited for that. It's just a fun film. I mean, not throughout, like I say, one of the characters is dealing with the death of her mother, so obviously that's not cheery and fun and great. But what I mean is, as a horror film where you know, a lot of it is being entertained by it, it definitely fulfills that aspect, you know, this sort of youthful exploration and sort of curiosity, you know, being possessed by spirits and all that. I think that they've captured a really cool story here and aspect of, yeah, sort of this teenage thing, looking for kicks and stuff, which doesn't, you know, just go to drugs or any of these kind of things. So I thought that was really a wise choice by them when they wrote the script and when they developed this film. Also like the effects, it's really kind of scary when it was creepy, when they get possessed, their eyes go black and that. I really enjoyed all that. There are a lot of other practical effects here that I won't spoil by explaining what they are. Done really well in this film, so overall I just felt it was a really solid production. Like I say, again, a first time feature film for both of the directors. I think they did an excellent job and I can't wait to see what they do next. That'll be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about Talk to Me or similar films that you know. Any new horror films that you could recommend, I'm definitely all up for that. And just as a last little note, for those keen-eyed among you, if you have noticed that usually some of my background, at least the display posters usually change with each video. I've just been very, very busy this past week. Flew to Scotland and all these kind of things, so I haven't had time for that. If you are one of those keen-eyed people and you're like, hey, the posters didn't change, I'm sorry, I'll do my best to do it for the next video, okay? I'll thank you for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care.